Κερδίσατε 2 λεπτά. Κερδίσατε 2 λεπτά.
Ναι.
Ξεκινάτε εσείς. Όχι έτσι.
Ποιος δεν θα είναι?
Ο Τζέφρι Κάρσον.
Καλησπέρα σε όλους, καλώς ήλθατε στον ΙΑΝΟ. Πάρα πολλά πράγματα έχουν κάνει φέτος τα 10 και ο Ντίνος Χιώτης. Και βραβεία. Και απόψε εδώ στον ΙΑΝΟ μαζί με το Monte Greco. Κάνουμε αυτή την εκδήλωση. Έλληνες ποιητές στα αγγλικά και Αμερικανοί ποιητές στα ελληνικά. Θα παρακολουθήσουμε πρώτα τους 3 Έλληνες. Περισσότερο βέβαια θα μας πει ο κύριος Χιώτης έτσι κι αλλιώς για όλη την εκδήλωση. Θα κυκλοφορήσουν και τα καλοκαιριάτικα 10. Παρακαλώ να προσεχθεί το κείμενο της κυρίας Μαρίας Σούμπερτ. Μπορώ, κύριε Χιώτη, έτσι να κάνω μια μικρή διαφήμιση. Θα πείτε και γι' αυτό, οπότε.
Ναι.
Ωραία.
Good evening και καλησπέρα. This is the first here at IANOS to have a non-Greek speaking audience and event in English. And I'm very glad we are the first to do that. The magazine Decata and Monte Greco, with the cooperation of IANOS, of course, we thank very much. The evening is going to go like this. 3 Greek poets, the 3 of us, Κατερίνα Αγγελάκη, Ρουκ, Νάνος Βαλαωρίτης, and myself. My name is Ντίνος Χιώτης. We'll read their poems, either written in English or translated into English. Each poet will say a few things about himself or herself, not more than a minute, the basics. If they're going to say anything, they might skip that and don't have to say anything. The 3 of us were connected this way. I met Katerina in 1969 in Athens, and I met Nanos in 1971 in San Francisco, where we both lived for many, many years. I lived there for 11 years, and we were very close. Nanos lived there up until 2 years ago. And, but Katerina visited San Francisco several times, and we had a few poetry readings in many bookstores in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, Sacramento, Berkeley, etc. So in this way, we are connected. The other way, Nanos and I connected because we both write in English. In addition, Nanos writes in French too. But we write in English, and Katerina not only, she writes in English as well, but she mostly translates from, you translate into English.
Into English.
She translates into English. So the first part of the evening will be the 3 of us reading poems from 6 to 8 minutes. And on the second part, unfortunately, Jeffrey Carson couldn't make it from Paros. And so he is replaced by Katerina Vallauridis, Nanos' first daughter, who is also a very good painter and a poet. So we still have 7 poets. We let these poets speak. And we'll start with Katerina. Katerina, if you're going to say a few things about yourself, go ahead.
First of all, it's lovely to have you all here. Second of all, I want to thank you for being here. My life is being divided in between my job. I'm a professional translator. I finished Geneva School of Translation. All my life I translate, but basically I lived with English. My late husband was English, so but nonetheless I never dared, with very, very few exceptions, to write in English, because I think that the mother tongue and poetry is like a lady holding her little dog. You can't have the one without, of course, texts of all kinds, studies, etc., I've written in English, but never poetry. And so my life as a translator inspired me a poem, and for the first time, a few years ago, and it's called Translating into Love, Life's End. Since I cannot touch you with my tongue, I translate my passion. I cannot communicate, so I transubstantiate. I cannot undress you, so I dress you with the fantasy of a foreign tongue. Under your wings I cannot nestle, so I fly around you, turning the pages of your dictionary. I want to know how you strip, how you open up. So I look for your habits in between your lines, for your favorite fruit, your favorite smells, girls you leaf through. I'll never see your punctuation marks naked. I work hard on your adjectives so that I can recite them in the susurrations of another religion. But my story has aged. My volume adorns no shelf, and I imagine you now with a rare gold leather binding in a foreign library, because I should never have indulged in the luxury of nostalgia and written this poem. I'm reading The Grey Sky now in a sun-drenched translation. That was, by the way, the title poem of my one but last book. And this one that I'm going to read now is the title poem of my latest book. It came out in 2005. In the heaven of nothing with less than nothing. Through the keyhole I peep life. I spy on her in case I can understand how it is that it always wins while all of us lose. How values can be born and impose themselves on something that is the first to melt, the body. In my mind, I'm dying with no trace of any disease. I'm living and I need no encouragement. I keep breathing even though I'm at a short, long distance from whatever is warm, can be touched, can inflame. I wonder what more combinations life can invent, somewhere between the wound of final disappearance and the miracle of daily immortality. I owe my wisdom to fear. Petals, sighs, nuances I throw away. Earth, air, roots I keep. Let the superfluous be gone, I say. I want to enter the heaven of nothing with less than nothing. Intestines and the rest. The innermost intestines that channel passion and make the descent of the grudging day felt. The stomach, the suck of the old love, the meanness of digestion, the exterior increase, the interior deprivation, the vessels with the stagnant blood of my personal failure, the veins, the thick ropes of my existence that tied me to you when the clock of your body ticked and emptied time into me, the liver, the wounded dark rose, the revolving stage of my guts, the high tragedy of my neck, the inside corruption, the outside of survival, the dark fellowship, how secretly the organs collaborate to ruin you, the heavy, silent keys of death I hold, but don't know it. And like a locked box, I still travel on the Red Sea that will smother me. Thank you very much. But I dared to translate myself. These were my own translations.
Nánος Βαλαωρίτης is next.
Since I cannot represent myself, I will read you a presentation of myself by a friend of mine, an American-Romanian poet, Andrei Codrescu. Nános Valauritis is an Olympian, maybe the last one. Summoned in a hurry from Olympus, he took his sweet time to get down, his laurels tilted slightly. That was some party at Dionysus last night. Where did everyone go? No matter, they'll be back in a millennium or two. Meanwhile, as we wait, why not pen a few verses in the luxury of our patrician solitude? Immortal verses penned while waiting for the gods to return. Untitled. For many years I have pursued a poem. There's a sound here. For many years I have pursued a poem which regularly escapes me. It's a funny little poem about nothing at all, if I remember well, such as those written today and cleverly crafted to say nothing. Yet this little poem became a whole out of which poured nothingness and invaded me slowly with its deadly darkness, while I stood there steadfast, holding on for dear life to the sinking twilight, and now it's too late, now it's too late to remember anything about this empty spot, this grain of something greater than anything in the universe. The next one that I want to read is a little poem that I wrote in '79, prose poem, called Cheese. Suppose a friend knocks on your door and says in the middle of the night, "You have to help me. I must find this cheese. If I don't find this cheese, I don't know what will happen to me. I may die. I may become crazy, or I may kill someone." So you say, "All right, man, I have your cheese right here." And you offer him some sharp yellow cheddar or jack cheese. And he says, "That's not it." Then you say, "All right, where can we find it at this hour?" "In the all-night grocery on Pink Street." So you drive him to Pink Street, and he gets his cheese. And he's as happy as Larry with his cheese on his lap. And when you get home, he says, "All right, now for the cheese, I'm fine. Thanks, good night." And you go back to bed wondering why he had been so fixed on a cheese. And you go to sleep, and you have the following dream. The cheese is growing. It's an enormous cube that takes up all the room. And your friend, is embedded in the cheese, half in and half out. He cries to you for help. "Save me from the cheese. I'm dying." And you draw your revolver and you kill the cheese. And you wake up wondering what the heck the cheese